Do Birdseye and Flame Maple necks warp or twist more often than regular old flat sawn maple? Let's get into it. Hey everybody, it is Aaron at Warmoth, and I often run into people on internet forums or various other places who believe with all their heart that Birdseye maple necks or flame maple necks are more prone to warping or twisting than, just a regular flat sawn maple neck. And this is usually due to some experience that they've had with a single neck in their guitar playing lives. And so I figured I would take a moment to talk about it. What I have here, this is a Warmoth J-Bass replacement neck in beautiful, gorgeous Birdseye maple. And this is a Warmoth Strat replacement neck in eye-poppingly gorgeous Birdseye maple. And I also have two personal guitars here with flame maple necks. I hope you can see this. But these are both AAA flame maple necks. And over the last 45 years, since 1980, Warmoth has manufactured and sold and warrantied tens of thousands of necks, if not hundreds of thousands of necks made from Birdseye maple and flame maple. So we have a pretty good sample set to draw our conclusions from. And our conclusions are, yes, necks made from Birdseye maple and flame maple are more likely to warp or twist under certain circumstances. But by more likely to twist, I mean in the win the lottery or get a hole-in-one sense. In other words, you could potentially play for your entire life and never experience those things. Because, the average person in their lifetime has a sample set of 25 flame or Birdseye maple necks, maybe less, probably less in most cases. Whereas, like I said, Warmoth has a sample size of tens or hundreds of thousands. And there are lots of other manufacturers who use Birdseye or flame maple in their necks. Tons of other manufacturers. One that comes to mind right off the bat that uses a lot of Birdseye is Ernie Ball Music Man. It's almost become like a trademark for them. So yeah, are they more likely? In our experience, yes, but in almost a statistically insignificant way given the number of necks we've seen. So if Birdseye and Flame are just fine to make necks from, if they're a good stable wood to make necks from, where does this idea that they warp and twist more often come from? And where it comes from is manufacturers who, in their quest to get a really eye-popping neck with tons of figure, they chase that figure across the neck blank. They lay out their necks on the neck blank in a way that capitalizes on the figuring rather than staying true to the grain. And so while they end up with a neck that is just super figured, they've compromised the grain structure in a way that's going to make that neck more susceptible to twisting or warping. And that is not the way that Warmoth does it, and that is not the way that other manufacturers with solid reputations for stable necks do it. What they do is instead look past the grain figuring and only they look past the figuring pattern and they look only at the grain structure of the neck and they stay true to that and then just let the figuring fall where it may. And this means that you could potentially end up with necks with inconsistent figuring. It might be really highly figured down here, and then as you get more up towards the headstock, the figuring kind of disappears. Or it could be, it's super eye-popping in the headstock area, and then as you work your way down here, the figuring gets a little sleepy. But that's the price you pay for building a neck that is going to last a lifetime and staying true to the grain. Now, by staying true to the grain, you're still going to end up with a lot of necks that have even figuring all the way up and down the neck. You're just going to end up with less of them. But again, that's the price you pay for building a neck that is going to last a lifetime. Now, Warmoth is really, really good at building replacement necks, really good. We've got a lot of experience at it. We've been doing it for a long time. But one thing that Warmoth is also really good at that most customers never even see is preserving information, like preserving our history, our historical information, preserving our processes and our best practices. Ken Warmoth really set a great precedent in that regard. And he left lots of notes, lots of details on his philosophy and how he did things. So rather than regurgitate what he left, the notes that he left and pretend like it's my knowledge, I'm just going to read you his notes. So let me put these necks down. These are the notes he left on Birdseye Maple. He left 4 bullet points. Bullet point number 1, Birdseye Maple grows in crappier soil on north-facing slopes and under stress. Birdseye Maple seems to be apparent in trees under these conditions, so grain in Birdseye Maple tends to be more squirrely. Bullet point number 2, but not more squirrely than Flame Maple. Bullet point number 3, Birdseye Maple got a bad reputation for being more squirrely than it actually is because builders in the past would chase the Birdseye figure when laying it out instead of paying attention to the underlying grain pattern. Prioritizing the underlying grain is always key when laying out, not trying to lay out for the best figure dispersion or concentration. And then bullet point number 4, I have always laid out Birdseye Maple necks looking past the birdseye to the grain pattern, and the resulting figure of the neck is what it is. That's why you sometimes see run out in the Birdseye figure necks that I lay out. No use getting a pretty neck if it's going to do the pretzel act on you. And the last thing I will say is I put my money where my mouth is. Like I said, these are my 2 personal guitars. This one is not that old. It's less than a year old. This one, on the other hand, I've had for quite some time, and it has gone from the temperate rainforest of the Pacific Northwest to the swampy, humid swampness of southern Georgia, and then from there to the arid high desert of mountainous Utah. And it's barely even needed to be adjusted, let alone it hasn't warped or twisted at all. It's been rock solid the whole time. So my experience with this sample set of 2 of my personal guitars, I've had no problems at all. And this one in particular has done some travel and it's been totally fine. So again, to sum up, yes, statistically, or almost statistically insignificantly, we have found over the last 45 years that Birdseye Maple and Flame Maple necks can be more prone to warp or twist under certain circumstances. But for manufacturers who don't chase the grain and don't chase the figuring and follow the grain, it's almost a non-factor. So if you are considering a Flame Maple neck, and by the way, I love Flame Maple necks. To me, a body that is kind of just plain finished, and then a Flame Maple neck, to me, that's my favorite arrangement. So if you are considering a Flame Maple neck or a Birdseye neck, don't hesitate because you've read somewhere online that it's more likely to warp or twist. Because while that is technically true in a gigantic bird's eye view, it's like almost certainly not going to happen to you in a sample set or 1 or 2 or 10 over your lifetime. So don't hesitate. I haven't hesitated and I've had no problem at all. So anyway, that was a lot of talking and a lot of information. I hope you found it useful. I tried to be frank and honest about the experience that Warmoth has had over the last 45 years of making and selling and warranting Birdseye Maple and Flame Maple necks. I hope it makes you feel more confident in buying one. Warmoth, I believe, continues to make the best replacement necks in the business. If you're interested in our replacement necks, our replacement bodies, our hardware, our tools, our merch, our electronics, any of that stuff, go to the Warmoth website. All the information is there. If you still have questions, give our customer service reps a call. And until next time, keep on picking.